Thank you, Norm, and good evening, everyone. We are so pleased to have as this week's featured entrepreneur, Mr. Robert Wesley Branch, journalist, writer, television executive producer, life coach, and host of the Robert Wesley Branch Blog Talk radio show. Good evening, Robert.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Good evening to you. It's so good to be here with you. You know, this is the first time publicly that the student has an opportunity to thank the teacher, because many, many years ago, you opened up a very big door for me at the Washington Urban League. It was the first time that I was ever on radio because you put me there. And now all these years later, I'm still doing what you taught me to do. So thank you very, very much. I will never forget that.
Oh, my goodness, you are too kind, Robert, way too kind. You know what, having known you all these years, over the past few weeks, our calls have dealt with the subject of growth, personal and professional growth. Mm-hmm. And several years ago, you walked away from an extremely successful career as an executive producer for Discovery Channel. Mm-hmm. And what was it within your spiritual growth that told you it was time to leave the comfort of a regular paycheck and strike out on your own?
Ooh, Debbie, that's a big one. I mean, I've done that twice. Ironically enough, on December 31st, 2004, I walked away, as you said, from my Discovery Channel job. I had been there for 11 years. I was an executive producer. If you fast forward 4 years into the future, on December 31st, 2009, I walked away from another executive producer job at TV One. So I've done that twice in 4 years. Big salaries, offices, travel, expense accounts, all that. But there was just something in my soul that told me that it was time to move on, not only from those positions, but from being in the industry in that way. Sometimes you have to reposition yourself. And I felt like I started at Discovery Channel as a freelancer. 9 months later, they hired me as a production assistant. 2 years to the day later, I was promoted to an associate producer. A year after that, I was promoted to a producer. A year after that, I was promoted to an executive producer and spent the last 6 years at Discovery Channel as an executive producer. I felt like I had mastered it. It was just a feeling on the inside that, okay, I've done this. I've done this, and there's such a thing as staying at the party too long. You can stay at the party too long. Bill Cosby was a great teacher when it comes to this. He taught me, to leave while you're on top. The same thing that Oprah Winfrey teaches us, to leave while you're on top. You can stay at the party too long, Debbie. And when I look back on that, I think ideally I would have left Discovery Channel probably 2 years earlier. When I really had successful programs, I really felt in my group, I would have leveraged while I was on top instead of getting to a place where I actually didn't have as much passion going to work every day. And for me, for a dreamer, for an entrepreneur who has that mindset, that's deadly. You want passion in everything you do all the time. And if it's not there, that's a major sign in your life and in your spirit to reposition yourself.
Now, it's human nature to have an occasional bad day, but you're in the business of building the spirits of others now. So what inspires you to ignore that dark cloud, remain positive, and continue to help people achieve their goals?
It's a great question, and one that I often have to balance, because when I first started life coaching, when I left Discovery Channel, I studied coaching, became a certified life coach, began to take on clients later that year in 2005. When I first left Discovery Channel in early 2005, I began coaching later that year. And it became clear to me very early on, Debbie, that I had to balance trying to help people with their pain, but not letting their pain get into me. You know, and that's tricky. That is very tricky. And so I actually don't ignore it. I don't ignore what I'm feeling. On my radio show every week, I have 3 co-hosts who do the radio show with me. We bring it all to the table. It is a life table. It is a classroom. So if I'm having a bad day, I actually bring it there and I tell you why I'm having a bad day. Maybe if you hear that, there'll be something in you that connects with something in me, and together we can work it out. So I don't ignore it. I try to just bring it to the work that I'm doing. James Baldwin taught me through his writings to use whatever you find on the path. It'll make you a better writer. It'll make you a better communicator. And I would say it would make you a better entrepreneur if you use whatever you find. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, but it's all useful.
Even as a solopreneur, there have to be different challenges where your spirit has to be intact in order to keep you successful.
Great question. You know, I learned a long time ago, Debbie, and I'm still learning it, that there's a connection between my values, my behavior, and the results that I get in my life. There's a connection there. And I think I started reading the Bible when I was 9 years old, and I've always known that what I'm holding inside in terms of a value system, which exhibits in my behavior and the things that I say and the disposition that I have, there is a direct connection with the result that I'm going to get back. And so I've always tried to keep that in balance. Now, I'm not happy to tell you that there was a period in my life, you know, when you have childhood pain, which I suspect a lot of us had, and you become an adult, you have to deal with that childhood pain. You know, you have to heal from some of the things that were less than perfect in your formative years. And so I went through a period in my life where it was kind of dark. You know, I did drugs, I drank too much, I just was in a dark place. I didn't love myself. I knew I had value, but I didn't know that that value was something that would be embraced and would form something good in my life in the world. I just wasn't making certain connections. And then one day, as Jan Van Zandt, my friend, says, my soul just opened up. If you stay on the path, Debbie, and keep doing what God gives you to do, and keep trying to make that work and never quit on yourself as you get older, I'm 45 now, something happens. You relax into yourself. You embrace those parts of yourself that are less than perfect. You heal some of the pain that you've had in your life, and it all manifests in work that in the end is attractive to other people and ends up propelling you into the future that you really want for yourself. It's a day-by-day process. It never ends.
That is, and it takes a strong person to admit those things that have happened in their past, and really appreciate you sharing that. But and based on your unique personal experiences, what words of wisdom would you give to entrepreneurs who decide to give up on their dreams before they hit their stride?
Ooh, that's a big one. I gave up on my dreams sometimes because it's very seductive in corporate America, because I had the nice office. I was making a ton of money. I was able to, and I'm in the entertainment business, so I was on the sets with celebrities and I'm coaching them on what I wanted. You know, for a project, the celebrity works for you. As a network head, they're doing what you want them to, you know, they're doing what you ask them to do so that we get the program that we want. All of that is very seductive. And for a while, you will think that you're happy. So you will let your dream just sort of marinate on the sidelines. That is very possible. It's happening to a lot of people right now. It is possible to be seduced by the trappings of corporate America. At some point, you will peak, and then you will go into decline with that. It just becomes another day, doing another thing. It's like buying a new car. It smells so good at the beginning, but after a while, it's just a car. And that's what's going to happen. And I guarantee you that you will always come back to the dreams that God has planted in your heart. You will always come back to that, Debbie. I don't care how seductive those trappings are. You'll come back to it. But you don't want to be so advanced in your life that you feel hopeless to make those dreams come true. You don't want to be 45, 55, 60 just picking up a dream. Although I say pick it up. Still pick it up. But I'm just saying that we can save ourselves some time if we stay conscious on whatever job we're on. I understand people have to work and make a living doing things they might not like, but you have to stay conscious while you're doing that job. Still keep that little thing going on the side. Still nurture those dreams that you have, even if you're sort of balancing it out with what you have to do to make the bills work. And it's hard as a solopreneur making the bills work, Debbie, I'm telling you. I'm here to tell you. People may be inspired by what I do, but the real challenge is turning that into a sustainable advertiser base, turning it into products that people actually pay for, that bring in revenue, that keep you in a position to continue to inspire them. Those are the challenges that entrepreneurs like myself have every single day.
Robert, you are so open with your comments. I really appreciate that. But please tell everyone how and where they can learn more about you and what you do?
People can learn more about me by going to robertwesleybranch.com, and I hope that they do that. But what I really want to encourage people to do is to support the OIC Entrepreneurial Mindset Initiative. It's very, very important for people like me because we need a community of entrepreneurs who support one another, particularly in the African American community. We need people to consume what we create, and we need to be better creators to give people things to consume that's good for their souls, that's good for their spiritual growth, that's good for their lives and the raising of their families. So I want to encourage people to text 41010, 41010. Text that number, and when you get there, just type in OIC in your phone, and that'll send your $10 contribution to the OIC Entrepreneurial Mindset Initiative. I'm going to do it today. It's very important to do it. And then when you're done with that, do that first, but then check me out at robertwesleybranch.com. And if you want to listen on Saturday morning, we're on the air every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Time at blogtalkradio.com/Robert-Wesley-Branch.
Oh, Robert, thank you so much for being with us this evening. And Norm, I'm going to throw it back to you.